911 emergency.
Hello everyone, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about an upcoming tactical FPS called Ready or Not. Ready or Not is this really cool SWAT shooter coming up, and it's going to be focused on these CQB room clearing kind of designs when you're going up against these really dark, hostile situations, and you have to kind of figure out how to navigate through and complete your mission. There's also going to be a lot of focus on that, like I said before, that darker time. They're putting it in this kind of really chaotic time in America, so there's going to be a lot of situations that you have to deal with that I think will not only just like immerse you, but also just emotionally disturb you. And I think that's gonna be a really cool kind of aspect in a shooter, is having these really, I guess, emotional kind of responses to certain scenarios. Because a lot of the tactical shooters right now, they're mainly focused on just overall combat and stuff like that, but they're trying to add another kind of darker element to Ready or Not, and I think that's going to be really interesting tied together. So there's going to be 8 players in a team for cooperative play. There also is going to be PvP, and we're just going to be going over a couple of the features that they're talking about adding in Ready or Not and why this game excites me. So like I said before, this game is really focused on the individual and, the mechanics and the gameplay related to being an individual in the game. So a lot of games like Squad, Postscriptum, Hell Let Loose, these are focused on bigger team-wide, I guess, immersion and realism, whereas Hell Let Loose, not Hell Let Loose, Ready or Not and Escape from Tarkov, these both games are all very similar in the fact that they're focused on individual mechanics, incremental lean, incremental movement, a lot of detail on your weapons, being able to customize your weapons, customize your kit. So you have realism on those two aspects. You have the micro and the macro. So Ready or Not, if you're interested in that, kind of micro individual CQB, very small units focused and oriented games, I think this is going to be one of the games that you're really going to like. Whereas if you're still looking for that, big overall shooter fix with that whole giant battle feel to it, you're going to have a lot of games coming out this year as well. So a couple of those features that we're talking about as far as the individual mechanics are incremental lean. We've seen this in Escape from Tarkov, and it works out really well. Same thing with incremental modular speed. So a lot of that uses the mouse wheel, which is a really intuitive design. You're able to easily maneuver and lean and adjust your speed with your mouse wheel, which is something I don't think a lot of games have done. Mainly the one that has done it the best recently is Escape from Tarkov, and I'm really glad to see other shooters implementing the mouse wheel control because it's really intuitive. It works, it works really well. So they're, in addition to the incremental lean and speed system, they're also having a door control system, which allows you to, manipulate doors with your mouse as well. So it's not just a single open and closed. You can also kind of choose how you want to open the door. Very akin to Escape from Tarkov, but once again, Escape from Tarkov as an alpha game as well hasn't had that implemented fully. You can't really breach those doors yet. You can kind of breach and open, but they have other options like breach and bang and other stuff like that, and that isn't in there yet, but it's going to be interesting to see what kind of door controls Ready or Not adds. Another thing that we're going to be talking about is the inventory, right? So obviously you're playing a SWAT, right? You're playing a SWAT. You want to have all these tools that SWAT has, certain weapons or tools that are going to help you complete your mission, whether it be riot shields, flashbangs, other kind of, other kind of tools, and being able to modular equip yourself with that kit. And I think that's something that a lot of games kind of fumble on, where either it seems like there's a lot of things that you can add, but there's not really that many choices. So I'm hoping that the choices that you make regarding to your kit in Ready or Not really make a difference, instead of just, this kind of false feeling of, oh, you can take this over that, but it doesn't really matter. And I kind of get that feel in other games like Rainbow Six, Siege, and stuff like that. But we'll see how they implement it. Once again, very akin to Escape from Tarkov, where you can choose your kit, choose exactly what you put on it. We haven't really seen too much in depth on the inventory system for Ready or Not, but I'm hoping it's something like Escape from Tarkov to that level of depth, or at least close to it. There's going to be a very accurate armor system. The armor that you wear is going to really affect the damage model that you have. A lot of games, like I said before, aren't really focused on this level of individual depth. The only closest one, once again, is Escape from Tarkov, Squad, Postscriptum, Hell Let Loose. None of these have armor mechanics or modular damage to limbs and stuff like that. So it's going to be cool to see a game that's focused around that as well. So there's also going to be a lot of focus, once again, on that emotional aspect of the game. And they're going to be doing that through effects and gore and just the situations that they put you in. So effects and gore. There's going to be a lot of focus on the visual effects of the game. I'll show you a couple clips here of, the really cool kind of technology that they're working with, and they're able to, really immerse you in that situation with all those particle flecks flying around, and especially the gore. Very few games have gore these days. I think the only tactical shooter these days that has like a good amount of gore is Day of Infamy from New World. So, it's cool to see games getting a little bit more edgy with the gore, because I know a lot of companies are playing it kind of safe right now. They don't feel like it needs to be added. But, once again, Ready or Not, trying to draw out that dark kind of side of shooters and SWAT situations. And so I think that's going to do a really big it's going to have a really big effect on players, going through these dark situations and actually seeing the damage to bodies and to other people that, either you cause or they cause. And it's going to be just a whole new level of immersion, because I think in a lot of shooters right now, you're just used to seeing like bullet holes in bodies, right? Just the hit markers on the bodies when you walk past them. And, it's not too immersive, but take, for instance, Day of Infamy. When you're playing Day of Infamy and you see a guy get hit by a carpet bomb or by an artillery strike, and his body just goes flying and his limbs go flying and he's got blood trails everywhere, it immerses you. You say, holy shit, that guy just had his limbs blown off. So it really adds a whole level of immersion that I think a lot of shooters are missing right now. So they're, once again, going back into the inventory, right? They're having a lot of detailed weapons and a lot of selection of items as well. So we'll see how that continues. And then one thing that I also want to bring up that's really important is this isn't just a co-op shooter. And you guys know how much I love co-op shooters. Co-op shooters are so much fun because you get to play against the AI. You don't have to worry about, balance or stuff like that, because, or at least not as much, because it's against the computer. You can do cool things. You can get really immersed with your friends and put yourself in that environment without having to worry about winning so much. So I think co-op is great, but they're also adding that PvP aspect as well. And I think that's going to be amazing because, small shooters, I think, are the way to go with competitive. I think it's harder to do larger team like Squad or Postscriptum or Hell Let Loose. I mean, it's possible and people do like that and enjoy it. But personally, for me, I like my competitive shooters to be close-knit and like 8 or below on the team player scale. So very cool to see them adding PvP as well. I think that's going to be a hit because there isn't really a really hardcore tactical shooter like this that's going to be focused on PvP. Escape from Tarkov is kind of on that level. There's a lot of things that Escape from Tarkov and Ready or Not have in common, but I think this is going to be a little bit more of a competitive game, whereas Escape from Tarkov is more of an open world-ish game with all the players and AI mixed in. Ready or Not is going to be the tactical hardcore PvP shooter with a very, very intense focus on individual mechanics. Going back to co-op versus AI, there's a lot of cool stuff. I can't say this enough. I wish more games had co-op versus AI, and I'm really glad that we're seeing a couple of these games come with that co-op versus AI aspect, because it's something that really just, the experience is completely different than when playing with players. Like, You can focus on a couple more immersive things. You can really take the time to get in there and put yourself in the situation. And I think that's going to roll extremely well with Ready or Not's dark kind of setting and that kind of emotional kind of edge that they're going for, because you're going to really be able to put yourself in that spot and have a great time and just take in everything and not have to rush through it because you feel like you're going up against other players. Because I think that's what happens when you add human elements into a game, is players spend less time looking at the surroundings and enjoying the environment that they're set in, and they're more focused on the enemy player because that natural competitive element has been added. They're going for a very minimalistic UI, which of course very obvious, right? Because it's going to be a tactical shooter. You don't want to have all this information floating around your screen because that just breaks the immersion. But they are going to be showing you a couple things. It's not going to be completely bare bones. They want to make sure you have that information that you would normally have as a regular human being in that situation. And there's a lot of cool stuff as far as weapon optics, right? You can just see, just alone by looking at the weapon optics and how those mechanics work with the moving and with the red dot moving inside, you can tell the level of depth and the level of, I guess, realism that this game is going for, right? Because in a lot of other shooters, that red dot won't sway. It'll just stay in the center, and it's very arcadey. Just from looking at the weapon optics, you can tell how far they plan to take that realism. So, Ready or Not just released a recent devlog number 3, going dynamic, and we're going to be going over it right now and talking about a lot of the cool things that they just brought up. So, the first thing that I want to talk about is AI. So, AI is a huge part of any co-op versus AI shooter, right? Like the quality of AI is really important, because if you have a co-op versus AI game that has completely garbage AI, it's just not a fun experience, right? A couple games like this are, Arma before they fixed it, right? Those bots used to aim shot you, right? And aimbot you, and those bots in Escape from Tarkov as well, the scavs, those would one shot you as well. And really bad AI can really just destroy an experience. So it's really cool to see that they're adding and working on their artificial intelligence, and that is a very big aspect of their game, because co-op versus AI, I think, is their main part of the game, and then the PvP, it feels like, from what they've said, is kind of like the side thing. And it's really interesting to see one of these games come out that's focused on fighting the computer first, and player versus player squad play secondary. So I can't wait for this, because I love fighting against the computer. It's just, I can't say it enough. It's just something that I think I've been missing for a while, and very few games get AI right. One of the games that does AI really well are Day of Infamy. Day of Infamy has great AI, same with Insurgency, and some of the AI in other games just completely fall flat. So I really hope that they're working on it, and they're making sure that it's as dynamic and as fair and as fun as can be. So I'll show you a couple of these videos where they go over a couple of the AI mechanics. They talk about in this video how, as he's reloading, the AI on your team will shoot, right? Because it's not just versus AI. You have AI on your team as well, if you so choose. So it's going to be really important, once again, to focus on that AI. So a lot of cool stuff going on here. So we're just going to go through a couple of videos that they released in the Dev 3, and you can just see like the blood splatter on the walls, the quality of effects when they fire their weapon, and just the lighting and everything. It looks like a high fidelity game, and I can't wait for that, because there's been very few games recently that have that level of depth and that level of effects and focus on the detail. So I can't wait to see this come out. The gore, like I said before, adding to that immersion of that darker setting, like seeing bodies like this and the blood on the ground while you're going through these dark rooms, and you're going room to room, and you don't know what's in the next room or what situation you're going to be going up against. It's going to be insanely immersive. Like it's going to be almost like a horror shooter, I feel like, and I think that's going to roll really well with the SWAT kind of aesthetic and the SWAT kind of genre, because you are put in these dangerous situations, and these situations where you don't know what's on the other wall, or in the other room, because in conventional warfare you kind of like know what to expect, right? Oh, the enemy's in the other room, another enemy soldier in the other room. But in SWAT, you don't know what kind of crazy, sadistic, effed up situations you're going to be walking into, and I think that's a really cool aspect of this game. They go through a couple of the animations that they've been capturing with motion capture, and you can see it's so high quality, high fidelity. It's got a lot of it just, seeing those kind of animations and that kind of detail put in to almost every aspect of this game on the individual level is just great, because it's going to add so much immersion to the player. as well as the death system. Like, you can just see the whole setting just looking through this scene right here. Like, it's dark, it's grungy, there's blood everywhere, there's bodies everywhere. I mean, just the pools of blood and the reflection is I've never seen a game with so much detail on the environment, at least recently in the tactical shooter genre. Like, it's just it's amazing the level of detail that they're going to. And then going through the reload systems as well. They're doing that double tap reload that we're going to be seeing in Insurgency Sandstorm, where if you click once, there's a normal reload. Double click, you'll tactical reload, and you'll drop the magazine. Or you'll fast reload, and you'll drop the mag on the floor. So you have that option. We'll see how that actually gets used in games. I'm not sure how well people are going to adapt to it. I think Escape from Tarkov runs that as well right now. You double tap R, you'll drop the mag on the ground. You single tap R, you take that half mag and or empty mag, and you put it back in your kit, and you take out a full mag. So we're going to be interested. It's going to be interesting to see how well that rolls out, because Escape from Tarkov has it, but no one uses it because they don't want to drop their mag. So I haven't seen it used in a really good fashion yet. But yeah, you can just see all the particle effects. Like when he shoots different materials, you see paper come out of the cardboard boxes that have paper in them. You see, concrete come out of the wall, and then tile particles come out of the ground. There's a lot that they're focusing on as far as not necessarily destructibility, but particle effects when it comes to damaging certain things. They've also talked about how they've scanned a whole bunch of people. So once again, getting that high quality kind of scans of players, so they can put those of people, so they can put those player models into the game, and it'll look really realistic. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that they've released on Ready or Not so far at this point in time. And I can't say enough that I'm really excited for this game, just because of how it's a different take, but still extremely immersive and realistic. And it's got this interesting spin on it with co-op versus AI, and the whole SWAT kind of genre and kind of I guess direction allows them to get real creative with that, the emotional tug and the I guess quote unquote story that you can kind of play out through in the game, whether it be going through these dark situations, hostage situations, or not even knowing what you're walking into, versus like having straight up military shooters where you kind of know what to expect, right? It's conventional warfare or guerrilla warfare, and you kind of know what to expect. SWAT can really get really interesting with the situations and the scenarios that they put you in, and it's going to be really great with all those modular and really focused once again on the individual mechanics, right? As far as lean control, speed control, hit control, a whole bunch of focus on the individual and what you can do and how you can customize and deal with each situation room to room. So definitely keep your eye out for this game. I definitely check it out once it comes out if you guys are interested in these kind of shooters. The closest thing to this is Escape from Tarkov, and as we all know right now, is as good as Escape from Tarkov is, there's a lot of problems with it, and it doesn't really fit well right now. There's a lot of netcode issues, a lot of bugs, a lot of stuff like that. But we'll see what happens. Both obviously very different genres. One is more open world survival, kind of loot and shooter. But Ready or Not is focused on that, co-op versus AI, mission to mission, clearing rooms. It will have that PvP aspect, as I said before, but different kind of directions, but very similar gameplay mechanics. So interesting to see. There's nothing that really feels this genre right now, and it's going to be really cool to experience this once it comes out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.